Hi, thank you very much for watching my BIP chat today. And I'm with Adrian Lomas, and we're going to have a really good conversation today, which is relevant to everybody. So it is relevant to you. If you're watching this, you're listening to this as you're walking your dog or driving the car or whatever, I can tell you there's going to be some amazing content in here because we're going to talk about life in business. And I'm pretty certain if you're listening to this, you are in business. So I've got a good target there. First of all, just in case you haven't listened to BIP Chat before, BIP stands for Business is Personal. And Thomas and I truly believe that it is, and I hope you do too. It's really the juxtaposition of when somebody said to you, hey, or said to me, in fact, hey, Penny, it's not personal, it's just business. And I immediately thought, this isn't going to work. And in a world where we are turning towards wanting emotional connections with people because we have become so disconnected through technology in many ways, it's really good to know that you can connect with people who are personal. So we bring this BIP chat to you because Thomas, amazing man that he is, literally trolls all over the place to find really great suppliers for you. Many of us spend a lot of our time really focused on how do we find the perfect client, but what about the perfect supplier? Somebody who's going to really superpower your business, and somebody who's already been kind of vetted and can be endorsed as somebody who not only has the expertise, but also skills and the wisdom of experience that we all look for when we are looking for a good supplier. So hopefully you'll really enjoy this conversation with Adrian. And we are going to be talking about, the subject of the entrepreneurial operating system, EOS, which if you're seeing this as a video, you will see EOS in the background. And I'm going to ask Adrian about his background because one of the things I love about people becoming entrepreneurial operating system, EOS implementers, is they do have the wisdom of experience, which means they come with a lot of empathy when you're a business owner. So we're going to crack on now. Adrian, thank you so much for joining me. I've been really excited about this.
Oh, good.
I came across the EOS system a few years ago, and I think it is an incredible system in terms of being able to structure and get the clarity in your business that we all need. So we're going to deep dive into that. First of all, I said that it's really important that people have wisdom. They've not just decided, that's something I'll do. So tell me about your journey through being an entrepreneur yourself and then deciding that you wanted to help other entrepreneurs.
Oh, wow. Big question. So let me try and condense it a little bit because it started in the last century, being fair about it, 1999, showing my age. I started young, of course, but in 99, I started a design agency in Cheshire, and from my bedside table, designing things like British cycling logo, and which is still running at the moment, which I'm very proud of. And it sort of grew from there over time. I realized that web was up and coming, so I started getting into the internet and employed people, but found it hard because I didn't really get it as well. I wasn't as technically minded. And then found a guy that could really make it happen, a guy called Rob Smith, and he just really helped to grow the business from a digital point of view. So, between us, we grew the business, we employed people and got famous for what we were doing, clients like Laura Ashley and Next and stuff like that. So it's, we did well from that point, winning awards and so on. But as we all know, the journeys are never sort of direct, it's always up and down. And sometimes you get those ups, which are just brilliant, but you've always got some sort of down and sometimes a crash at times. And that's what we certainly faced in 2013 when I started the year with a challenging year, let's put it that way. My mum passing away and a divorce, which was just, not nice to go through for anyone. And then finding out I was technically insolvent personally, and the business was close to it as well. So I pretty much ended up living under my desk, if to be fair, for 3 months of my life, and sort of lost direction. The business was still operating. We still looked good on the outside, but the inside, it was just, I was at my wit's end, really. But somebody gave me the book. The book is Traction, and I had little else to do, living under a desk. I read it. I thought it's quite a simple process. It's a book written by Gino Wickman about the entrepreneur's operating system. And so, yeah, followed it and made changes to the business. took on a big loan, paid everybody off, changed the business, followed the system, and over the next 6 years got to the point of actually selling the business. So, you know, I was super proud of turning it around with the help of that system, the EOS system, and therefore selling the business. So that was my main journey, if you like, before.
Incredible. And I know we're going to come on to traction and how this system works because it's so valuable. And I just want to, first of all, thank you for being so open about that because, you know, Thomas and I have supported business owners since 1998 really deeply. And we're fortunate that people give us a lot of information in confidence. And I don't think there is anybody that's had a straight path. Life is
No.
very. And just yesterday, somebody I know quite well was telling me that he really needs to liquidate his business, cash flow, large companies not paying him. You know, that is reality. It
Yeah.
doesn't actually negate the expertise that somebody has. It's just we have an expertise, but
Yeah.
it's all this business stuff around us that we're also supposed to be brilliant at.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and I cannot imagine there's anybody listening to this that hasn't been through some pain. So I
No.
really appreciate the amount of empathy you've got on that. So tell us what happened. You know, so you picked up traction
Yes.
and you exited your business and did that
Yes.
successfully in the end, which
Yes.
is incredible because a lot of people, when they're on their knees, they just give up.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so this system obviously helped you a lot. And then you decided you wanted to become an implementer, an EOS implementer yourself.
Yes, correct. Yeah, I mean, it was one of those where I was working for the company that bought my company for 4 years in a cultural role globally. And, you know, that was good, had some good times there. But what I really, where my passion has always been is sort of helping teams, helping people. And I wasn't doing enough of that, I felt. So when the opportunity arose, I just picked up the book again. It was one of those, you know, those moments where it's like the right time, right place sort of thing. Picked the book up, read it. It's like, oh my God, yeah, this system helped me to change my business around. So I inquired, signed up, did the boot camp, and yeah, I'm full in. I just now
So,
get up every morning just with a passion of helping senior leadership teams to break through that ceiling. That's what I do. I love it.
no, it's wonderful. And I might be being a bit of a generalist here, but I imagine a lot of founders of businesses and even CEOs that are brought in, they're constantly needing to learn and they'll have their bit that they're brilliant at, you know, as an expertise. But give us a more of an insight into how EOS helps you. Let me just tell Ditty, I'm going to interrupt myself there. We were just talking, Adrian and I, before we went live, about the fact that he briefed a new supplier himself yesterday. And, you know, this supplier was almost on the floor with shock about the clarity you have about your own business. So you implementing, obviously, in your own business. But to me, that's the real life example when you can, with clarity, brief a supplier exactly what your goal is, your niche, everything. So I just love the fact that how much it's helping your own business by knowing this stuff always. So anyway, let's go into how EOS works as a system.
Sure. Well, I do believe in eating your own cooking there, Penny, to be fair. So, but yeah, well, there's three things that we believe at EOS. It's about vision, traction, healthy. It's our uniques, which we call it. So the vision is just, it just means getting you all 100% on the same page with where you're going and how you're going to get there. The second part is about attraction, which sort of means installing discipline and accountability throughout the whole organization. So wherever you go, you'll see people executing on that vision that you've created. And the healthy bit just means making you a more cohesive, functional, open and honest, fun-loving team, because most teams are not. So, you know, it's important that we get that right because, you know, where the leadership team goes, the rest of the organization tends to follow. So that's what we believe in.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And so can we deep dive into each of those three areas? And I think it would be really fantastic. And I know when you've done some webinars for our clients, which have gone down so well, you've been really generous with the knowledge you give. And I do want to repeat that this comes, you know, this really is the basis of traction, isn't it? So I know you're looking, you know, you're happy to have conversations with people.
Absolutely.
This, but I know that you're really keen for people to know that what we're sharing here, if they feel they just need to learn a little bit more, traction is a
Yes.
great book for them to pick up, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yes, you're absolutely right. Traction is a great book if you run a business.
Yeah,
As you rightly pointed out, I use it on myself. So
yeah,
I follow the process. I've created my vision traction organizer, the VTO, for myself with my goals and values and so on.
yeah,
But it
exactly.
works on much larger organizations.
Yeah,
Its sweet spot is between 10 and 250 in people. But
right.
they can work in smaller and larger if
Yeah,
they have the rigor to use the system. Um, but
yeah,
there's a few things with it. One, you can self-implement it, as they call it. So you can read the book, you can go on the website, there's webinars, so you can do it yourself.
yeah.
It's like you can almost do anything. You can write your own wills, you can do SEO, you can learn all this stuff yourself,
I
right?
like do with you. I like DWU. They do like do with you.
Yeah, but well, that's the point, because many of us just need that extra level of accountability. That's why we
Mm.
take trainers on to go to the gym. That's why, if we're playing golf, we get somebody to teach us, because just a subtle move of the hand on I was going to say a cue then. Obviously, I'm not a golfer, but, on a club, then it makes such a huge difference. And that's what it's like with an implementer. We do sort of three things, if you like. We come in and teach the system. We're there to facilitate the wisdom in the room because it's your business, you know everything about it. And then we're there as a coach because, me, I've seen a lot of businesses. I've run my own business, been there, seen it, done it. So I can coach as well. So it's the three things. It's the teaching, facilitating, and coaching gets you there much quicker than just reading the book and taking bits out of it, because that's what often happens. It's, some people will dabble with it. Many of us
Uh,
are dabblers. I've been there myself.
yeah, and when you're running a business, you are in the here and now, and
Yeah,
taking yourself
absolutely.
out of it, you need an appointment in your diary. You need that discipline and also you need the whole team with you, don't you? And
That's
you bring
right.
the whole team on this platform, don't you? That
Oh,
you,
yeah, absolutely. It's a good point, actually, Penny. This is not just for leadership teams.
yeah.
Although I work with the senior leadership teams, it's very important. This is an operating system for the business. It's about harnessing the energy and getting them all going in the same direction, because so many times they're not. People sometimes come to work and they're just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where my vision is. I don't know what connects us. I don't know what part I'm playing in the business. I'm just getting a paycheck at the end of the day. And that doesn't fill you up with any passion when you go home, because you're just working for the money. So if we can get everybody on the same page, going in the same direction, the energy is unstoppable.
I think that's such a vital component because I think about marriage, okay, and I think that's a business in its own right. Two people trying to make a marriage work, and if one person suddenly goes into massive self-development and goes onto a track of something that where they sort of see the light and they haven't brought the other person on that with them, it can really create. And so you can imagine if you have a business leader who suddenly has all these light bulb moments, but they've then got to try and inspire, which isn't their job to do that, really inspire
Yeah,
new systems. And so I think that's a really critical component to me of the
yeah,
way
you're right. You're
you bring
right.
everybody in. And when you talk about bringing everything in, when you showed us on the webinar, there are some incredible what would you call them, templates, would you call them
There's
documents?
tools, to be fair. I mean, there's 20 tools in the process, in the system. There's 5 foundational ones which we teach really early on to make sure that you're getting those bedded into the business right from day one when you're working with an implementer. And then there's other sort of 15 which we can call upon as and when the business needs, really. So it works around a model. There's like 6 pieces of the pie.
Yeah.
And it's those 6 pieces that we're trying to get a business from wherever it is. If you score it, most businesses 20, 30, 40%, if you ask them some questions on their vision and the people and data. What we're aiming to get you to is at 80% strong is a good mark to be at. 100% would be amazing, but
Yeah.
let's go for 80%, right? And so it's those 6 pieces which are the vision. We've got to get that right and strong throughout. We've got to
And
make
that
sure.
sounds easy, but it's not.
Oh, exactly. It's a couple of days that we work on that, to be fair, because It's about getting the values, the long range, where we're going, you know, bringing it down a little bit now to a sort of a 3-year and then a 1-year, but also sorting out what our purpose is and what our niche is, you know, figuring out all of those stuff. And can we figure out what is unique about us, and maybe a proven guarantee or promise that we can provide. So as then we're just making you much more appealing to your target audience. So it's figuring out exactly who they are, you know, from demographics, you know. So
Yeah.
all of these things we do.
So that's the 2-day thing that you would do with the senior management team and the leader.
Yeah, we normally start with day one. I mean, personally, I run a 90-minute free of charge session with anybody that is interested in it. So that's out there. And then they can do whatever they want to do. But then we do the focus day. The focus day is when the leadership team comes together and we work on the sort of 5 foundational tools and get them set up first.
And
Really,
they actually have a document at the end of that.
yeah. Well, we bring a manual. You've got the work manual, which we go
Yeah,
through. But the thing
brilliant.
that you're referring to, Penny, is more linked to day 2 and day 3.
Right.
Each 30 days later, and this is what we call the Vision Traction Organizer. So it's creating a 2-page document. That's all, not
Right.
something that is massive and goes hidden
Yeah.
in a drawer, but it is the 2-page document we work on over 2 days, and that's what you get all of your team interested in and following, and you can use it to when you're recruiting. Because think about it, if you were going for a job, for instance, and you meet the founder and you're talking about where the business is going, so many times they're not quite clear and they don't share it. But if you can share with people that are coming for an interview, this is our vision and this is how we're going to get there.
Lovely.
Think about that, because then you can see which part you're going to play in that journey, that 10-year, that 3-year, that
That's
1 year.
it's an itch that so many people want scratched,
Yeah,
isn't
yeah,
it? Because I
yeah.
think no leader would say that they didn't need something like this. It's so it definitely is the itch. So when do you move into we talked about the vision. When do you move into traction? What does that really involve, the traction piece?
Well, interestingly, we do traction on day 1 because that
All
is the
right.
focus day, because you've already got a business, you're already trading, you're invoicing. So we come in and give you some tools to get you more traction from day 1, which is just having a better accountability in the business, because most businesses struggle with accountability. We're going to create a better scorecard. If you haven't got one, we'll create one. We're going to create
KPIs type things.
well, it's weekly scores that we can measure and monitor, so then we can make changes in the business on almost on a weekly basis. Because so many times people have a dashboard that tell you what happened in the past.
Yeah.
You come together once a quarter and you look at it, and it's like, oh, we're nearly broke. Now, if we can do something on a weekly basis, some good leading indicators, then we can make changes if we see some reds coming up, for instance.
Brilliant.
So we've got to get the right data to create your right scorecard to help you going forward. What we also do is work on what we call rocks, which are like goals, if you like. So what's the most important things you and your team are going to work on over the next 90 days? And we create those rocks because we want you to work in a 90-day world going forward. So these are what we do in the first day, Penny, which is the focus day. And then we then bring a sort of 2 days of the vision building, because you've got a bit more traction going, you've got more accountability going, you've got a scorecard going. Now let's get sharper on the vision. And that's when we do those 2 days. And then it drops into the quarterly sessions.
Right.
And that's where somebody like me just comes in once a quarter, helps them to look back, just check what they've done, helps them to check where they're going. Is it the same mountain? If so, let's just go again with another set of 90-day rocks and another day world that we live in. And that's how it works.
That's incredible. You know, the other thing I really like about this, listening to you, is I don't think if you're a business leader, you are naturally very independent. I don't think you can be, you know, you've got an independent thinking, you want autonomy, you're busy. And what I really love about this is that you're not, you know, this is really structured, but it's actually passing it back to the leader all the time.
Correct.
It's, you know, people aren't becoming disempowered, because there's this point, I remember last year when I was needing to do some rehabilitation after my knee operation. I stopped going to the gym unless I was seeing my personal trainer, because I became so dependent on those sessions. I felt I lost a sense of empowerment myself.
Yes, yes, yes.
So I love the fact that this is really about you serving the leader and the teams to empower themselves and lead themselves with the data and the information that they then have gathered.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's the first point, is we teach. So we're
Yeah,
teaching, we're facilitating, and then
yeah,
the coaching just from that experience. So in the first sort of 3 sessions we run, that is all about the teaching and facilitating.
yeah,
And then it's those 90-day worlds, that's when we just come in. But we
yeah,
do expect that the teams come in together weekly to run this. They have to have a massive accountability, and we teach them a really, really world-class way of running a meeting, which everybody leaves the meeting with accountability, and
yeah,
that's done on day one, because that's one of the bedrocks of how this
yeah,
really works. It's the rigor that it comes
yeah.
from.
Now, being somebody who's incredibly emotional and sensitive and loves to love people, the other thing that I really want to touch on is that I know you have a lot of empathy and love and care and kindness in you. When, in all this sort of very structured stuff, very sort of success-driven conversations, how do you weave in that beautiful side of your personality that really has that empathy with that leader and those people? How do you find that comes into play, that
Well, you
emotional aspect
feel
of,
it, Penny. You feel it. You know this. You go into a meeting and you're with a group of people, and if somebody is dominating it, and you can look aside and you see somebody else who's a little bit cowering or a bit afraid, or somebody that might just have a smirk when somebody says something, you feel that energy, you see
right?
it. And so the way that I position it really is that I am there to enter the danger at times. It's, I say to the guys, look, you can sack me, but I'm going to say this. This is how I am reading this situation right now. I may be wrong, but bear with me. And so I will enter the danger and say something that I feel. And I guess 9 times out of 10, the others are like, oh shit, he's going there.
Yeah,
But it nearly always opens up a conversation which creates clarity, or
good.
whatever is needed at that time for that person. Tears come from it at times. I've had many people in my
Yeah,
presence cry at situations, and
yeah,
yeah, you're
good.
right. I'm an emotional soul as well, and I'm
Yeah,
very close to it at times. But the purpose is to get people to a better place.
yeah, absolutely. But
Totally for that.
sometimes you just got to get the pain or the conflict or whatever it is out, don't you?
Absolutely, absolutely. And
Yeah,
it's sometimes it's really, really tough to face that for whatever the circumstances are, whether it's finances, emotions, or people, or
yeah,
but
absolutely.
we've got to do it to get to that new level, of
Yeah,
whatever that is. There's no point having, a vision of doing that if you've got something completely blocking you. We've got to clear that quickly. So yeah, that is my role, is to enter the danger and
yeah.
guide them through.
Yeah, that's good. I'm really glad we've touched on that. I really love that. And when you're reflecting on the clients you've helped so far, is this something, I mean, I think it comes across, are you absolutely loving this stage of your
Oh,
life, what you're doing?
absolutely, Penny. Yeah, I ran my business for 20 years, and that had its ups and downs. And
Yeah,
the latter years I found tough. The business outgrew me. I wasn't, I felt a little bit uh, left behind by the business. Yet I was CEO and founder and leading it. Which is not a nice feeling. I then worked in a 2,000 strong organization, which at times was great, but other times again I struggled with it. It was sometimes too big for me. But
mm,
now, I just get up and I'm working with senior leadership teams, and I just love it. I absolutely I love being in the room with the people. I love just helping them, communicating them. So yeah, I've found my passion at my tender age of whatever I
oh,
am now. So yeah, love it. Absolutely love it.
it's beautiful. I absolutely love it. I can see why you would love it. I think if I ever decided, and I won't be, but because my world is about building community, but was going to step into doing this, I think having something that's so structured, where you can walk in with a structure that has been created and proven. I mean, I think, how many people are implementing EOS across the world now?
Oh, well, yeah, it's into the thousands. I mean, it started about 20 years ago, and mainly American, to be fair. So it
Yeah,
took a while for it to sort of come over. It was brought over into the UK about 10 years ago, and it's taken a while to get going. We've
yeah,
got around 20 implementers that are helping companies. But you know, it really seems to be on a hockey stick effect now, in that more and more companies are implementing it. The
yeah,
thing is, there's so many companies that just read the book and implement it themselves to a fashion.
yeah.
You've got the ones that are on the system as well. So there are a lot of people that, you know, if you just mention EOS, normally someone will sort of know of it nowadays.
Oh,
So
yeah, definitely. I see the brand awareness and people who have worked with an implementer talking about it now. I can really feel it's come of its time in Britain, where people really
that's right.
can really see it's brilliant, brilliant. So Adrian, what's the best way? I know that people can contact us and we would love to connect you to them. And I know you offer this 90-minute sort of initial conversation with them, which is lovely that you do that. How else can they get hold of you? Where's the best place for them to find you?
LinkedIn
Yeah,
is by far the best one. Adrian Lomas on LinkedIn will get you there. That's by far the best one, and I've got a website coming soon as well, which will be Adrian Lomas as well. So
right.
nothing rocket science.
Fantastic.
Just make
Oh,
sure
it's
you get the right Adrian Lomas, of course.
absolutely. Well, we'll make sure that it's connected into the show notes. But yeah, Lomas, Adrian, I think everybody will now spell Adrian, but
Yeah.
Lomas is Lomas. And fantastic conversation with you. I'm so motivated, and I would just love to hear all the case studies, but we don't have time for that. But
Well,
thank you so much for sharing.
just one thing, Penny. If
Yeah,
anybody is interested further, just send me a message and I can send them a book as well. I mean, I was given a book when I was under my desk.
yeah,
So if
lovely.
you want a book, let me know.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, that's very generous. Thank you very much, and thank you for everything you shared. It's buzzed me up
Oh,
actually a
good.
lot. Thank you so much for your
No
time.
problem. Thanks, Penny.